The plot thickens as the FBI just raided Diddy's house for sex trafficking allegations and discovered hidden tunnels. Now, what on earth was Diddy hiding down there?
I want to now bring in our ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett. Brian Buckmeyer, don't go anywhere because I have several more questions for you as well. But Brad, as you're watching this, first of all, can you explain to us, Brad, what that vehicle is that we're seeing right there, that big white truck?
Well, I can't see, I don't have a screen up to see it, but if it looks like a cargo truck or looks like any sort of truck that you could put evidence into. So since we don't know kind of what they're looking for, I can give you a list of what I think they're looking for, is that you have to have a crime scene search vehicle to go in with the various things you need to do to search. So my guess is it's that, because my sense was they weren't going there to arrest anybody. This was to do a search. And so they took everyone probably from the evidence response teams of maybe the FBI and DHS to do this search.
Yeah, so a large vehicle to collect evidence. It does also look like it has some kind of satellite up in the air as well. We're also seeing local news in the area, and you're seeing law enforcement, Brad, sort of walking down a very long driveway to enter the home, and you're not seeing, it's not a chaotic scene at all. Definitely not. And you're right. Our sources are saying that an arrest at this point is not imminent.
Right. So, quickly, why were they able to go in there? To Brian's point, how did they convince a judge to go in there? You have to have a link directly to these two houses. In other words, do they have video of some of these acts that are being alleged in either location or both locations? Are there witnesses? People that have come forward? Of course people have come forward. Can they put acts in these houses? Maybe they were there firsthand. Is there CCTV that could be seized? Does he actually have video that he collected while these acts were going on? It's not uncommon in these types of cases. So it's all about what happened in those houses that law enforcement convinced a judge that there may be elements of the crime inside these houses.
Sources tell CNN federal investigators are preparing to bring accusers of Sean Diddy Combs before a federal grand jury. This is seen as a clear sign the Department of Justice could be moving to indict the disgraced music mogul.
We are learning now that federal investigators are in possession of video footage that was taken inside of Combs's residence. We hear that these investigators have been contacting individuals that they have seen on this footage. When the raids first happened, we had a law enforcement source tell us at CNN that the investigation was largely based in sex trafficking, which is what HSI specializes in. Now we are hearing that that scope has been widened and that investigators are really looking into all of these claims put forth in these civil lawsuits. That would include not just sex trafficking, but also money laundering and illegal drugs. I have a source who tells me, quote, this is much bigger than just these lawsuits.
Yeah, so right now we're on Watson Island, right down the street from Star Island, and that's because earlier today when we went to Star Island, we were told by security that we had to leave. So that's why we're here right now. And in my hand, see this massive document? This is about 100 pages. This is the latest lawsuit filed against Diddy, and in it there are some very explosive allegations. Caught and cuffed on camera. New police body camera footage obtained by CBS News Miami shows the moment 25-year-old Brendan Paul, an alleged drug mule for music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, was arrested for possession of cocaine and marijuana candies Monday at the Opa-locka Executive Airport. Diddy has been hit with 5 lawsuits over the last 4 months.
Now, it ain't no coincidence that P. Diddy lives in Homey Hills, right next to the Playboy Mansion, amid all these rumors about sex trafficking and drug abuse.
So when the feds found these underground tunnels, it was actually a real thing, because I wanted to do my due diligence before I came on here saying something crazy. So they actually did find underground tunnels under P. Diddy's mansion, which is very scary, because we're going to put all this together. When you think underground tunnels, whether they were already there or not, if they were actually tunnels that are in use and there's electricity down there and they're not closed off, Well, that gives some type of credence to why Homeland Security in particular, and not the feds, because Homeland Security and the feds are not the same. Homeland Security coming in there with guns drawn is a possibility that they thought or perceived that they were there to save people. Homeland Security, they're the group of people that look for immigrants, look for humans, in trafficking situations or whatever.
The blueprints, which show that the construction project was built in the 70s and 80s, were discovered in the Playboy archives by staff writers looking for a juicy story.
Now dig this, a photo from the late 70s allegedly showing an excavation in progress beneath the mansion. And this one shows the newly discovered tunnel plans. Check out the bunny logo on the plywood wall.
The second time I met Oprah was at the Playboy Mansion. There's tunnels under the Playboy Mansion that lead to celebrities' homes.
Nobody else has this except for me.
There was a tunnel.
Playboy.com staff members released some blueprints that they found a few years ago that show underneath the Playboy Mansion is a series of tunnels that were constructed to link Hugh Hefner's world-famous...
You see what it says? Northbound tunnel to where? Jack Nicholson's residence. P. Diddy has Jack Nicholson's old house. And the tunnels go to at least about 7 other houses. P. Diddy's house is one of them.
But Diddy's under fire for another thing, because this discovery came right after the Cassie video surfaced, where Diddy was seen beating up his ex-girlfriend.
Gloria, many people I know have seen that video and posted their reactions on social media, that they were sickened, they were so disturbed. Some people have said that they can't even watch it. What was your reaction to seeing that video of Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura?
Well, I certainly feel for Cassie Ventura. And it's interesting because I'm not surprised by that and by his misconduct. By the way, after numerous denials recently, Sean Combs today admitted what, of course, he had to admit, or at least couldn't continue to deny, that is what he did to Cassie on the video. So, and then, of course, he says he's sorry and he got help and all of that. But really, this is horrible, abusive, revolting conduct. And of course, the Los Angeles County District Attorney, because it did occur in LA County at the now closed Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, they said they could not prosecute him now because this conduct occurred in 2016. In other words, it's too late now. It's not within the period of time called the statute of limitations to file a criminal charge against him in terms of a state violation. Having said that, it would not at all surprise me if the Department of Justice, and the federal prosecutors are taking a look at this video. And obviously they are investigating. We all know they did recently 2 searches of his homes, both in Florida and in California, and recovered, per the search warrant, numerous electronic devices like phones, laptops, desktops, whatever he had that was electronic, and perhaps other items as well. Generally, the federal government doesn't do that unless they feel there's substantial evidence, probable cause, that they had to prove to a magistrate to get those search warrants. And they don't generally do it unless at some point later they do seek an indictment against him and then file charges. A big business enterprise. He is very public. There have been numerous allegations against him. There are 5 civil lawsuits against him right now, and there may be more filed in the future. So it's, I can't speculate as to what would have happened if he were not a public figure. But I'm glad there's a serious investigation taking place, and we'll have to wait and see what the outcome of it is. But I just wanted to say the fact that no state charges are filed on account of that video doesn't mean that the federal investigators are not interested in it. I'm sure they're very interested in it, and in fact, may have known about it, may even have had possession of it prior to its becoming public. We don't know.
This was not an isolated incident. This has happened before. And the reason I know that is because the first time he struck her, she was very still. She felt the force, she was very still. There wasn't surprise, there wasn't shock. That's something that, unfortunately, I'm very familiar with. It's someone who knows that behavior and knows that if they don't provoke it, it's their best odds of it de-escalating. So the fact that she's not reacting in a certain way allows someone to look at that and go, this is not the first time it happened. The second point, which essentially proves the same thing, is, for lack of better words, his comfort with that behavior. There's no moment where we see him, oh my God, what did I do? How horrible. He just keeps leaning into that behavior. Like it's second nature for him. Like he's familiar with this type of behavior. They both seem familiar with this situation. And I think any of the viewers who work in law enforcement or family law or therapy or anything where you deal with this kind of trauma will be able to look at that footage, and you can confirm in the comments that there's a familiarity with both of them in that scenario. The third point that I want to make is a counter to anyone that might say that he was in a complete delusional state, that he was completely disconnected from reality. So whether it's him or a lawyer or someone in his defense might say something like that, I completely reject that hypothesis. I think he was very much in his right mind in that state. And the reason I know that, amongst other things, if you look at the video, there are certain clues for that, but chief among them is the fact that the entire time he's got one hand on his towel. That is not only a conscious behavior, he's consciously thinking about holding that towel up, but it's also a sign that he's thinking about public embarrassment, which, if you think about our human needs, everyone will agree that social standing is one of them, but it's not a basic, primal human need. That's like food, water, survival, shelter, these things. Those are all basic. When you're in a primal state, you look for those things, but you're not thinking of social standing or embarrassment. So the fact that the whole time he had his hand on his towel, to me suggests that there was conscious thought there. He's thinking about public image. Oh, what if somebody walks in and sees me without my towel? He wasn't, in my opinion, in this rage-filled primal delusion. He knew exactly what he was doing. That's what I believe looking at that footage.
Now, Diddy's out here posting apologies, but ain't nobody buying what that man's selling. FBI agent Tracy Walters says that Diddy's far from being sorry, and he ain't gonna get away easily this time.
There's overwhelming evidence that has existed for a long time, as well as brand new discoveries that have really painted a picture of just how P. Diddy is and has always been. Because a video came out that not even they can defend. It's surveillance camera footage from 2016 in a hotel where P. Diddy chases down and then beats his ex, Cassie. Obviously, I can't show this video, but it is brutal. It is a disgusting thing to witness. And there is no trick photography here. That's not a deep-faked AI or anything like that. It is footage of P. Diddy mercilessly beating his then-girlfriend, which corroborates the abuse allegations that have been made against Diddy for a long time now. He hits rock bottom, he hits women, he hits crack pipes. There's nothing this guy won't hit. It's so difficult to reflect on the dark times, but I've got the strength to do that because I'm built different, so I'm going to reflect on the most painful moments of my life. When it comes to strength, I'm like a Super Saiyan being able to sit down and talk about this. Like, and then he goes on about how, like, it's inexcusable, he's not going to make any excuses. This is a guy that should have been locked up for life a long time ago. Allegations are backed by mountains of evidence and continue all the way to present day. So I highly doubt at any point in his life he's ever sought professional help for him being a violent maniac. But anyway, P. Diddy is one of the most well-documented monsters in the music industry, and it is shocking that he still is not in prison. But with more and more evidence constantly coming to light about this guy, I'm optimistic that eventually justice will be served here.
That is proven and undeniably gross, disgusting, wrong, criminal. Some apologies that we've looked at on the channel were for things where it wasn't proven, or it was, but there's some debate as to whether or not the person should be apologizing. So these ambiguities could exist. This needed to be 100% an apology. It's undebatable that he owed a lot of people a serious apology. And even with that apology, it wouldn't erase these horrible things.
But he's not sorry. He's sorry he got caught. That's why he made this step, in my opinion. He went so far as to pay the hotel to keep this video quiet. So I don't believe he's sorry. If he was sorry, this is something he would have admitted to right away. And as you mentioned before, this is something that he has vehemently denied in the past. Homeland Security, any federal charges, in my opinion, because I feel this may be a RICO or trafficking charge that could come down, is going to take some time. I've worked RICO cases that have taken actually years to investigate. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen here, but I don't think that this is something that's going to be handed down, an indictment that's going to be handed down very quickly. Now, in terms of, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
In terms of the court of public opinion, look, I think Diddy actually dragged the federal government, quite frankly, through the mud. When these search warrants were executed, he said that they used inappropriate force. In my opinion, this video right now gives them all the reason in the world.
Now it doesn't stop here. The allegations just keep getting worse as Gene Deal spills the truth about Diddy beating up yet another woman, Misa Hilton.
But I said I heard he beat her so bad she had to. Misa was a little thing then too, man.